Okay, yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha Hinckley, and I am the Assistant Dean for the Liberal Studies portfolio. I'm very excited to have you join us. I've been with the uh, program for 2 years now, so that's very exciting. And we are part of an incredible team, very dedicated, very knowledgeable, very excited to have you all join us. So thank you for being here. And I'll pass it to David.
Thank you, Samantha. Everybody, my name is David. I'm the program manager here with the Liberal Studies team. About 5 years, and I'm looking forward to being here along your academic journey and getting you the information you need to make those decisions. And I will pass it over to Martha.
Hi everyone, my name is Martha Nolisnik and I work as an admissions recruiter for the BLS program. I can answer any questions regarding the application requirements, the admissions process, and give general information about the program and SCS.
Thanks so much. And we're joined also by Ty, who doesn't have a photograph here on this page, but here from admissions as well. If you would like to say hi, Ty, go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. I do not have a photograph on this slide. I've worked in various capacities with the BLS program and the admissions office, both on the front end and the back end. So I'm here to kind of help support and answer any questions as well that you might have as we go through the webinar and the Q&A session at the end. It's nice to see everybody's names on the participants attendees list. So.
Thank you so much. Well, as we get started, we'll move to the next slide just to take a look at webinar objectives. Thank you so much. So today we're going to introduce you a little bit to Georgetown and to the School of Continuing Studies. We'll discuss what liberal studies is. We often get questions about that. We'll provide a curriculum overview, and we'll also talk about how any previous academic work blends with our program so that you can decide if it's a good fit. We'll talk about professional and educational goals, and we'll end with admissions requirements and Q&A. So first, a little bit about Georgetown. So when I shared my name, I didn't share that I've been at Georgetown for almost 12 years. I've taught on the Hilltop, which is our Georgetown campus in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. I've taught in person and hybrid and online, undergrads and grads. So I've really had the joy of interacting with a broad range of students here at Georgetown. The School of Continuing Studies is a very special place. I've been here for 2 years, and this is a place where you get to engage with a community of students, faculty, and alumni from a broad range of backgrounds and experiences. It's a very special place precisely because of the diversity of students and faculty that we have here. And our courses are really designed to blend study with real-world professional experience to really jumpstart your career or personal goals, whatever your interests might be in coming back to school. You'll have a lot of opportunities to become a change maker in your community. Our pedagogy is really fueled by Jesuit values that are rooted in Georgetown's history. So reflection, personal growth, action with intention, social justice are all really important cornerstones of the pedagogical experience, both at Georgetown, at the School of Continuing Studies, and certainly in our program. So on the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about the spirit of Georgetown and the Jesuit values that really animate our pedagogical approach. There are usually a few that I like to focus on. In particular, our community and diversity, which I alluded to earlier, is one of our foundational values. Georgetown is a Catholic institution grounded in a nearly 500-year-old educational tradition, which was inspired by St. Ignatius of Loyola. But we have a very broad range of students from different faith backgrounds or no faith background at all. And there is a place for everyone here at Georgetown. I mentioned also that social justice is a really important component of Georgetown's approach to education, and certainly working toward building a more just society is a big part of the Jesuit mission, and really informs our approach to our courses and our pedagogy. So that's something that you can expect to hear about and learn about in all of your courses. It's a perspective that we try to support as well. So those are the two sort of most important values connected to the spirit of Georgetown that I like to highlight for students. The last would be cura personalis in Latin, which means care of the person in English. And that really speaks to, excuse me, just one moment. There's a little bit of background noise. My apologies. So you can expect that your teachers, your classmates will be ready to embrace all of you as a human being, not only the components that relate strictly speaking to your schoolwork, but also all of the aspects of your life, whoever you might be in your personal life, as a family member, a community member, a coworker. Those are all aspects that we aim to invite into the classroom experience. So now we're going to move into a bit of a program overview here, and we'll start by digging into the question that I alluded to earlier: what is liberal studies? So in this context, liberal is a way of referring to a program of study that is unrestricted by the typical boundaries between disciplines. So we're very much rooted in the humanities and social sciences, and we also provide ample opportunities for students to connect those skills to various professional disciplines. We'll talk more about the specific concentrations that we offer, but the idea is that some of those key elements of critical thinking, problem-solving skills, the capacity to engage with an issue from a multiplicity of perspectives, that all of those things will help you no matter what job you pursue. And here we see a little bit more about how our curriculum is structured: strong foundation in the humanities and social sciences, and then exposure to several professional disciplines. We have an emphasis on communication, problem solving, and critical thinking skills. So really, whatever your chosen path, our education is designed to support you. I'll hand it over to Samantha for a little bit more on our program.
Thank you, Michelle. And let me get this bar out of the way. Oh, let me get the faces on too. Sorry. So this is a umbrella, bird's eye view look at our program overall. We'll talk about it on the next few slides as well. So we are first and foremost very transfer credit friendly, and our program is designed for adult students and people who are returning to school in mind. And because we're very transfer credit friendly, we do our absolute best to honor different experiences and coursework types that students have taken in the past, including military experience through joint services transcripts and other prior college coursework. You'll see here that the overall number of credits needed for our program is 120, of which we accept up to 64 transfer credits therein. Most of our students do go to school part-time. They take 1 or 2 classes at most because they have family, jobs, various external obligations that they're also working with. So most students do go part-time, but you're welcome to go full-time as well. Most of our classes, as you'll see, require about 6 to 10 hours per week of work, whether that be, excuse me, reading, watching lectures, responding to discussion prompts. So a very type of homework, schoolwork that we have in mind, but this is generally on average 6 to 10 hours per week. So we like to be very upfront with students. If you do have external obligations, that make sure to budget time accordingly with this in mind. And we are also very happy and proud of our tuition expenses as well. We charge $400 per credit hour. And so with, if you took a full 3-credit class, that would be $1,200 per class. And I have to go back. So Dr. Mona mentioned this a little bit before. These are some of our student profiles that we did after taking some surveys and seeing what our students' goals are. She mentioned career changers. These are the vast majority of our students who are looking to change professions and transform their current status. We also have students who are interested in graduate school, and many of them, even half of them, come to the program looking to finish their bachelor's degree in order to pursue their master's degree, paralegal degree, whatever that next step may be for them. And we also have military connected students. And this is also a large chunk of our student body as well. And they can use education funding to finish their bachelor's degree with us. And we also have dedicated staff in the military benefits department that can assist if you have any questions there as well. And what I'll mention is sometimes our students are all of these things, right? Maybe they're not even listed on this. We truly are here to support our students to make it to whatever their goal is academically, professionally, personally. And so we really strive to make every experience the best it can possibly be for students. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the overall degree requires 120 credits total. This is, again, an overview which will be broken down in the next few slides, but we essentially have core courses, core areas studies, which are 12 credits in that overall 120 bucket. We also have concentration areas, which are tacked on to these foundational core studies classes, but allow students to have a niche in a particular area that interests them, maybe even 2 concentration areas, depending upon what suits you best. And then the remainder are going to be general electives, or those classes which you can take above and beyond your concentration or core areas that really just suit your fancy and you're interested in. And the reason that it's listed as 72 to 90 is it really depends upon whether a student wants to take 1 or 2 concentration areas, and we'll talk about that in a couple of slides. I should also point out at the bottom that approved transfer credit will also fall into the general electives bucket. So, for example, if you already took an Intro to Business course, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and take another Intro to Business course with us, unless you want to, of course. It would all just go into one bucket, a general electives transfer credit bucket, when they would be applied to your Georgetown transcript. So here are the core areas that I talked about. There are 4 overall. We have humanities, writing, philosophy, and science. So these are foundational themes to liberal studies that we allow students to take a course in of their choosing. So here are some example courses listed. I won't list out each of them, but at the end of the day, students really get to choose what relevant core area a course suits in. So some of them, for instance, I'm thinking, I can't think of a good one right now. But for instance, maybe intro to criminology could be a science core area, but it may fulfill a different core area as well. Or maybe you would want it to count towards your concentration area. There is purposeful flexibility built into our program so that students can get the experience that best suits their needs. And as we mentioned before, this is all these core areas are meant to have students engage in critical thinking, cultural understanding, human values, and ultimately be able to communicate with a wide range of audience members through our curriculum. And I believe the next slide focuses on our concentration areas. So we have 5 now. I'll read them off quickly: business and entrepreneurship, politics and international relations, media, communications and humanities, cybersecurity, analytics and technology, and what we call interdisciplinary studies, which is what Dr. Nona likes to call, and I really like it, the choose your own adventure concentration, because any course can ultimately count in that. And I mentioned before, some students are interested in taking more than one concentration. So we have students, for instance, who are taking both politics and international relations, as well as media, communications, and humanities. Or some other students are taking business and entrepreneurship, as well as cybersecurity, analytics, and technology. The concentration areas are listed on the transcript, not on the overall diploma. So essentially, students are able to select 6 courses, 6 relevant courses within each of these tracks, and that will get them the 6 courses needed to complete one. And we have a catalog which lists these all the relevant courses by concentration areas. We have a spreadsheet that students can look at to see what a course can fulfill. But at the end of the day, if you want to pick just one concentration area, you're welcome to. 2 concentration areas, you're also welcome to. And many students who would like to plow through as quickly as possible tend to choose interdisciplinary studies because they just want to pick whatever course that interests them most and finish their degree, which is what we're excited to do with you here. So that's a little taste, a little overview of the different concentration areas that we have. And here are some of the courses that we're offering this spring to give you another taste of what we tend to offer. So I won't read all of them, but cybersecurity risk management and global competitive intelligence, as well as global supply chain management. These are all new courses that we've added onto the Coursera platform. And we're really excited with the cybersecurity and analytics and technology concentration because that started just in the fall. So whereas you'll see a lot of these repeat year over year, semester over semester, depending upon student needs and professor faculty availability, you will also see new courses being added every so often because we listen to our students and we know that it's in demand. So we're very excited and honored to have such a diverse group of courses offered each semester. And this is just a few of them that I said we're offering this round.
Samantha, if I can just jump in really quickly, I do see that folks are writing some great questions in the chat. If you don't mind, please use the Q&A function. That way all of us can respond to your questions, and other participants are also able to see our answers that way. So the Q&A function is should be just at the bottom of your screen. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And I believe I pass it to David now.
Yes, thank you, Samantha. So expanding a little bit on transfer credits, as Samantha mentioned, the program accepts up to 64 transfer credits. If you come in with the maximum transfer credits, you'll be responsible for 56 credits, which is about 19 courses to complete the degree. So we accept transfer credits a grade of C or better, from accredited institutions, community college JSTs, AP, IB, and CLEP exam scores, and of course, them being academically relevant to our program. Next slide, please. Speaking of the transfer credits, sorry about that really quick, Samantha, one more. Speaking on transfer credits, it is a tedious process and we do have an influx of students. So we try to get those transfer credits in within your first year of the program, but guarantee that they are submitted, they will be input. And if you have questions related to your transfer credits, you can email us at the email that we will provide towards the end of this presentation. Next slide, please. And then of course, student services. So at Georgetown, we have a numerous amounts of resources that we want students to take advantage of. In the top left, you'll see the SCS Writing Lab. Like we mentioned, our program is designed for the student population who may have taken credits at a previous community college or have done this college experience once before and you're coming back. So we encourage all of our students to go to the SCS Writing Lab. It's essentially getting your paper graded by English level professor, and then without that final grade. So again, it might have been some time since the last time you wrote, or you're struggling with assignments or papers. The SCS Writing Lab is here to help you with all of those resources that they can provide there as well. The top right, you'll see the Academic Resource Center. They put on events towards interviewing, career progression, and of course, things related to the Georgetown community as a whole. And as a Georgetown student, you have access to these events. Bottom right, you'll see academic advising. That will connect you to the program staff here who will help you advise yourself on course selections, what courses may be available for you, degree completion, and making sure you're on the correct route towards making this degree happen for you as quickly as you'd like and as responsibly as we would hope it is for you as well. And on the bottom left, the counseling and psychological services, commonly referred to as CAPS. We want to prioritize your mental health and your well-being while being a student at Georgetown University. So we always recommend students taking advantage of this resource as well. Next slide, please. And then, of course, we're just speaking to some common misconceptions that we've received throughout our time here in the program. It's been too long since I was last in the classroom. I'll never finish. It's too expensive. I don't have military credits. And throughout the presentation, we've made remarks towards these misconceptions to disprove them. And we understand that, again, this program has been designed for adult learners and those returning to the collegiate world. And with that in mind, we hope to be the team and the program that helps you get you to that finish line. It's too expensive to invest in. And you look at the bottom, people with bachelor's degree make approximately $20,000 a year more. And then, of course, there's options for internal scholarships, employer benefits, GI Bills, and yellow ribbons for our veterans and those military connected to help you get to the finish line, and those military credits that we do accept with JSTs. And then at the bottom, the last bullet point you'll see is the tuition costs with 64 transfer credits. As of summer 2023, you'd be responsible for $22,400. So we take extreme pride in the pricing and the availability of our program. Next slide, please. And then we're going to hand it over to admissions.
Thank you so much for all that great information. I will now go over the admissions process and the financial resources available. And just a reminder, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the Q&A section and we will get to those shortly. Next slide, please. Before we get into the requirements, I wanted to highlight that our application review process is holistic, meaning that each piece of the application will be taken into consideration when reviewed by the admissions committee. In order to be considered for admission to the BLS program, an applicant must complete our online application and there is no fee to submit an application. In addition to the online application, we have 3 requirements. The first one being official transcripts of your high school transcript, official copies of your high school transcript or GED certification. The second one being transcripts from all previously attended institutions. These documents can be unofficial when applying, and if admitted, an applicant will need to provide an official transcript by the start of their first term. Something to note is that this process differs for applicants who attended an international institution. If you have attended an institution outside of the US, including high school or an equivalent, you must obtain a course-by-course evaluation from the Evaluating Services WES, ECE, or SPANTRAN, which has recently rebranded to TCE, in order to be considered for review. And to meet our English proficiency requirement, an exam score from either a TOEFL or IELTS is required if English is not an applicant's first language, unless they have attended an institution where the language of instruction was English. Let's move on to our optional application requirements. You may optionally submit a resume or a CV, a statement of purpose, an academic or professional letter of recommendation, or a writing sample based on the prompt on the How to Apply page. I also wanted to mention, for those of you who have already earned a bachelor's degree or an equivalent, you are eligible to apply for our on-campus Master of Arts in Liberal Studies program, and we will have the contact information for who to reach out to about that on a later slide. Next slide, please. Okay. Here are our application deadlines for each term. The priority deadline for the summer term is coming up on February 15th. If you're interested in applying for the summer, make sure you submit your application by April 15th. We have our deadlines listed for our spring and fall semesters as well. Currently, our applications are open for the summer and fall 2025 terms. We do not offer visa support for this program, as online programs are not eligible for student visas. We review applications on a rolling basis, so you will not need to wait until the final deadline to get an admissions decision back. We typically take about 2 to 3 weeks to return an admission decision. I would like to mention that BLS scholarship applications typically open around the priority deadline for each term. It is important to note that in order to be eligible for scholarships, you must have already been admitted to the program. Scholarship applications are not reviewed until the application deadline, but if you're interested in getting a head start on your scholarship application, applying by the priority deadline would ensure that you get an admissions decision around the time when the scholarship application opens. Next slide, please. I'd like to highlight a few resources that could help with the funding the cost of your degree. The first is our financial aid office. The financial aid office assists students in financing their Georgetown education through a combination of federal student loans, external scholarships, and employer benefits. Your potential eligibility to borrow is determined using the information you submit on your FAFSA and SCS supplement form. Our financial aid office has a very detailed website that provides more information on the student loan process and how your FAFSA award can be used for tuition. The Office of Revenue and Receivables also offers different payment plans for periodic payments throughout the term and the year. Another resource is the university's Active and Supportive Veterans Office. They can provide more information on how to apply the GI Bill and Yellow Ribbon benefits towards tuition. If you have any questions, you can reach them through the email listed here. We do have a few service-based scholarships available. Students are awarded scholarships for completing service terms with eligible organizations or being employed by these eligible organizations. Many of these scholarships award either a tuition amount or a dollar amount per year. We also recommend speaking with your employers about possible tuition assistance benefits they may offer. Lastly, the BLS program has several program-specific scholarships. They have various eligibility conditions, so we encourage you to look on our website for more information on those. Please make sure to review the scholarship deadlines, as you must be admitted to the program and have filled out the scholarship application by the scholarship deadline in order to be eligible. I'd like to thank you for your attention throughout the presentation, and now we will open up for questions.
So I believe we're addressing all of the questions that were posted in the Q&A, but if anybody has an additional question, please feel free to type it there. One of the things we often circle back to is course load. Earlier in the presentation, Samantha was discussing the amount of time associated with each of our courses. So because our courses are 3 credits, we do advise students to earmark 6 to 10 hours per week. And most of our students take between 1 and 2 courses each semester because they are balancing other obligations. You can go full-time if that's something that your schedule allows for. But we offer that sense of effort in weekly terms and hours, so that you can really think carefully about how much time you have available to devote to your schoolwork. Our courses are absolutely as rigorous as our in-person courses, both offered at SES and on our Hilltop campus. And so it is important to take seriously the work obligations that are associated with them.
There's a question in the Q&A asking about minimum GPA requirements, and I'm not sure if they're talking about the application or while in the program, so I'll address kind of both because they're kind of tied to each other. There are no minimum GPA requirements for the application to the BLS program. However, students in the BLS program are expected to maintain a 2.0 GPA or better while in the program, and so that is also typically what is the recommended GPA for applicants to apply to the BLS program. People who are admitted under, people who apply who have a GPA under 2.0 can be admitted as well. The application process is holistic, meaning that we take into account all of the application materials that are sent in. We highly recommend students who have around or below a 2.0 GPA to submit some or all of the optional application materials, such as a resume, statement of purpose, letter of recommendation, or the essay. You're also more than welcome in your statement of purpose to talk about any prior educational experiences you have had. This is a bachelor's completion program. It's designed as another opportunity for many people to be able to obtain their bachelor's degree. So that means we do have a lot of people coming into this program who have had, they've had to stop their bachelor's studies before because of GPAs, maybe family problems that have come up, just different things, life. So we encourage you, if you believe that you have a GPA that is lower than you would have liked it to have been in your previous studies, to please address that in the statement of purpose to give the committee a better sense of you as a whole, instead of just looking at a transcript and making an application review based off of that. So.
Thank you for that, Ty. And a few other questions about the diploma specifically. So the diploma does say School of Continuing Studies. It is mostly written in Latin, as all of our Georgetown diplomas are, but it will say Bachelor of Liberal Studies from the School of Continuing Studies. And it will also say that it's a Bachelor of Arts, again, in Liberal Studies. Everybody in our program is a liberal studies major, so it's really important to understand that that is what your diploma will say. We have those different concentrations which will appear on your transcript. So if you, for example, are considering an employer-funded degree, or otherwise would like to highlight that, you can certainly indicate on your resume that you have specific concentrations. They will be present on your transcript should you need to submit those. But the diploma itself is always going to say Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies, because that is the major. So I always like to clarify that for students.
I see several questions that I'm going to kind of hit back to back while they are up here in my head. The first one is somebody writes that I found this program through Coursera. Is this something that I would enroll through them or Georgetown Continuing Studies directly? So the way this program works is it is a Georgetown University program. The admissions process goes through the admissions office at Georgetown, my office, but we are partnered with Coursera. And what that means is that we utilize the Coursera platform to deliver course content. We utilize some of Coursera's resources to enhance the student experience. but it is a Georgetown degree through Georgetown School of Continuing Studies. So when you enroll through Georgetown, you'll get if you fill out an application and you are admitted into the program, you will get a letter of admissions from Georgetown University signed by our dean, and you will accept your enrollment through Georgetown University. You will then need to link your Georgetown and Coursera accounts, which there'll be information sent to you on how to do that, so that your courses that you sign up for in Georgetown can transfer over to the Coursera portal, and you'll be able to take your courses through the Coursera platform. But this is a Georgetown University degree that is partnered with Coursera to offer kind of the ability to give out these courses in a succinct and efficient manner to the students in our programs. There's another question. Is it possible to get a transfer credit evaluation prior to applying? Sort of. It is possible to get a transfer credit evaluation prior to finishing your application, your admissions application. However, there is a process, transfer credit, a pre-evaluation process, in which anybody who gets through up to the, I'm trying to think of the title of it in the application. I believe it's BLS application information section, I believe, is able to get a pre-evaluation of their transfer credits. As you're filling out the application, you'll see a blurb at the top of the section that I'm talking about with a link to a form that you can fill out to get your transfer credits evaluated. You can get that done before you submit your application, but you do have to complete all of the required application questions up through that section. If you do not, and you put in a form, somebody will reach out to you and help you kind of make sure you get everything done that you need to. But that way you can get a transfer credit evaluation prior to finishing your application. And then decide if you want to continue and finish your application. You can also reach out to, and Samantha, I don't know if you want to click on the next slide to give the contact information. You can also reach out to this email or phone number right here. And talk with them about your application. They can help you also navigate the application process, as well as making sure that you meet the requirements to get your evaluation done before you submit your application. And then one last question that I want to answer here, and I don't know how many this might apply to, but it might apply to many of you. They asked, do you have options for transfer students coming from schools that have lost their accreditation? So, in an application standpoint, a student who has been to a university or college or degree granting institution that had accreditation while they are attending is what we take into consideration when applying. Sometimes schools will lose accreditation, sometimes schools will close down. We do understand how that works, and we will work with you through that process, especially if you're having a hard time getting transcripts from some of these institutions. We can also help go through the process and figure out how to get transcripts from these institutions. So if you do have prior educational experience from an institution that's had something like a loss of accreditation or a closing down of the school happen, please reach out to us and we can help navigate that process for you.
I'll also piggyback off of that quickly to say, from a programmatic standpoint too, in terms of transfer credits, we also look at the accreditation at the time when the student was enrolled. So even if, and there's no deadline, we have students who took courses in the 1980s, 1990s, we still look over those transcripts and honor what we can. So if the school was accredited, one comes to mind, I think it was called the Golf Academy of America, which lost accreditation since the student was there, but we looked at the time frame from when the student was there, or it might have closed, I can't remember. In any event, we honored what the student had received credit-wise from the time that they were at the accredited institution. And I bring this up specifically because David also mentioned that transfer credits have to be academically relevant, which we have a very wide range, as Dr. Anota pointed out, liberal, free, unrestricted curriculum. So most courses and course titles we can accept. from this one golf transcript, we could take, and golf engineering, marketing for that sort of thing. We couldn't take very specific niche courses such as medical billing. We've had transcripts come in for that. But if it's offered at Georgetown, we've taken art classes and basket weaving. And if it's something similar to what Georgetown would offer on its campuses, we would definitely look at that as well. So just wanted to clarify that we really are transfer credit friendly. And you can do a preliminary evaluation. If for whatever reason you don't partake in the preliminary evaluation process, as David mentioned, you have, your first year with us to reach out and request a transfer credit evaluation. So it's no harm, no foul if you don't participate in that prior to enrolling.
I see a question.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I see a question here asking if you need a paid Coursera account in order to link your account with Georgetown classes, or is a free account fine? A free account at Coursera is fine. You do not need to have the Coursera subscription account. That being said, just to make sure it's clear, there is a tuition cost to this program. So the free Coursera account is fine, but there is tuition that is due for this program, as it is a degree granting program from Georgetown. But as far as the actual Coursera account you need, a free account is fine.
Thank you. I wondered also, I saw a couple of questions about associate's degrees, and I wondered if anyone from admissions would like to respond to that.
Yeah, I can answer that. So this is a bachelor's completion program. So it's designed for students to join who have, for the most part, post-secondary experience already. It is not a requirement, but it is what the program is designed for. So we do have a lot of people coming in with a handful of credits. We also have a lot of people that come in with an associate's degree worth of credits, around 60 or so credits. All the educational experience that you have is taken into account when reviewing your application. That does mean that it is taken into that you might have an associate's degree as taken into account when reviewing your application as well. But also, I don't want anybody who doesn't have an associate's degree to worry about filling out an application and potentially being behind other applicants. Every application is reviewed individually based on what is submitted for that application. So if you do have an associate's degree, please send us those transcripts for it. We will need it for the application review. And we'll take into account all of that educational experience you have. If you do not have an associate's degree already, that is also okay. Please make sure to send us all the transcripts of the educational experiences you do have, and we will review your application based on those documents. I hope that kind of answers that question. I did see that there was a little bit of a question around the transfer credit of associate's degrees. This program does accept up to 64 transfer credits. That does cover most associate's degrees, but as Samantha mentioned, it is dependent a little bit on the classes that you have taken, as long as they are eligible for transfer based on the transfer credit of policies that are set in place. That being said, a lot of people will come into this program with 50 or 60 transfer credits already. So also don't it's very transfer credit friendly. So don't be worried that if you come in with an associate's degree, you only get a handful of transfer credits. Most people come in with quite a few. And I think that's pretty much it so far in the application admissions questions. So please feel free to put any more in the Q&A. I'd be happy to answer that.
I did see a question about guidelines for French students to better follow their courses. We do have students whose first language is not English. Obviously, there are specific admissions policies related to that, which the admissions team covered earlier. But just to talk a little bit about some of the services and forms of support that are available to our students, we do have an excellent writing center here at the School of Continuing Studies, in addition to wonderful library services. So if you have concerns about your level of comfort in writing in English, certainly at an undergraduate level, I would very much encourage you to reach out to the Writing Center. They can help read documents, coach you in writing. And, without question, we've seen time and time again that student grades improve when they reach out to the Writing Center. So if writing is a concern for you, whether or not your first language is English, perhaps you've been away from school for some time, I would really encourage you to be proactive and reach out to the Writing Center early in your time with us here at the program. And those are services that are available remotely and to students in our program. So I wanted to mention that.
I see a couple questions about universities and high schools outside of the US. So for the application process, we do need a course-by-course evaluation from WES, ECE, or TEC in order to review your application. That applies for both high school credentials as well as university credentials. They will translate everything into English. They will calculate GPAs, grades, everything like that into the US equivalent so that our admissions team can review the application with a complete understanding of your prior educational history. So if you have a high school transcript and diploma written in another language, please use WES, ECE, or TEC to evaluate that, and they will take care of the translation process or give you advice on how to get the translation process done for them. Every one of the evaluation companies is a little different. What they require is a little different. It is also worth noting that kind of the benefits of them are different. TEC or SpanTran, for some of you who might have looked into evaluations before, but they've recently changed to TEC, tends to be a little bit on the cheaper side. WES, on the other hand, tends to be a bit more expensive of the three, but it does, the evaluation does not expire. So if you are looking at maybe using an evaluation in the future, WES might be a good option for you. But those evaluation companies will help handle the conversions of language to English, as well as figure out the credit counts that will eventually also be used in the transfer credit process. And then one other question here is they ask, if I only have a few transfer credits, is a statement of purpose recommended? To be honest, I recommend everybody who is able to fill out a statement of purpose. Our application is set up so that you only need to supply the transcripts of course-by-course evaluations and an English proficiency test if required. However, with that information, the committee, for the most part, only has the ability to look at grades that are letters and GPAs, as well as scores for the English proficiency test. Those are very numerical, very calculated based. A statement of purpose, and why I recommend almost everybody who has the ability to fill one out, is because it gives the other side of an applicant. It gives the more personal side, what they're interested in, why they want to join the program, what they want to do when they graduate, the background outside of just a letter grade. So I'd recommend anybody, regardless of how many transfer credits that you have, to fill out a statement of purpose if you are able, because I do truly believe it helps the committee understand you as a person. It is not required. Plenty of people are admitted without one. Plenty of people are admitted with one, but it is out of the optional documents, it's the one that I typically recommend the most for people to fill out. If you only have a few transfer credits and you don't fill out a statement of purpose, the application review will be based off of those transfer credits you do have or the credits you've earned. So if you think that maybe there's more to kind of tell about your story, please do fill out a statement of purpose.
I see in the chat that there is a question about when classes start. So I'm going to pop our academic calendar link for everyone to look at. This is something, if you are to become a student in our program, we recommend you bookmark. I use it every single day. It's very important, and it has deadlines, important dates for students to remember. And you can click into each semester. We only have fall, spring, and summer. We don't have 4 for winter semester, so just 3. And for summer, classes start on May 19th, but you can also see fall and the spring calendars too, in case that's helpful.
Someone asks if portfolio assessment of certification and work experience are considered in the application review process. There is not a certain space to put a portfolio in the application process. However, one of the optional documents is a resume, which is a great place to list any certifications you have earned, as well as all of the work experience that you have. If you submit a resume, most definitely certifications and work experience are considered in the application review. A lot of people, as I mentioned, since this is a bachelor's completion program, a lot of people will come in with a handful of credits. Some people come in with an associate's degree's worth of credits. But that also means that we get a lot of people from all ages who apply to this program. Some people might not have been in an educational setting in 20 plus years, but they've had those 20 years of work experience. All of that is definitely considered in the application. Anything you submit within the bounds of the application process, within the list of the optional documents, is considered in the application review. So for those of you who might have a lot of work experience and maybe haven't been in an educational setting in a while, please submit a resume. It'll help us frame what has been going on over the last several years of your life. And even for those who might have recently been in undergraduate experience, if you have a resume already, it never hurts to submit it as well with your application. The more information, the more details that the committee has to review their application, the more holistic it can be. So please feel free to submit resumes, everybody who has one. As I said, it's the same thing with statements of purpose, if you can write one, or a letter of recommendation, if you can get one. There's also an essay that you can fill out the information on what the prompt is on our how to apply page, as well as in the application. It's around 500 words, but that also kind of gives another supplemental document that allows the committee to be able to review your application based on more information about yourself.
Thank you, Ty. Just a really quick note, I did answer this question in the Q&A, but just regarding modalities and interaction with faculty, our courses are designed to be fully online and asynchronous. However, each course does have optional live sessions associated with it that faculty will run. So if you are able and it works with your schedule, you're welcome to attend live to interact with faculty and classmates. Those are also recorded and made available to students who are not able to attend. Above and beyond, if you have questions, you can communicate with faculty and teaching assistants over email and in office hours. So we do have real human beings who are teaching the classes and who are here to support you in your learning. But we also prioritize flexibility, knowing that everyone is balancing a range of other obligations. And that's really the core of this program. It's designed for students like you who are living their lives at the same time as pursuing academic goals. So I wanted to clarify that. I'll just pause really quickly to see if there are any other questions. And I think we've answered everything that was in the Q&A. So any final questions? Doesn't look like it. So I will take this opportunity to thank all of you for being with us this afternoon to learn more about the Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies here at Georgetown. I also want to thank all of my colleagues for joining me and sharing this information. We hope that you will take this information into consideration as you think about what next steps might look like for you in your academic journey. Thank you again, and be well.